Disney over the years has gone fully down the road of DEI and just trying to create content for the modern audiences. But now we are finding out that Disney has actually completely cut their prince from their latest fairy tale. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. So, I wanted to start with this Inside the Magic article. It says Disney's newest animated feature Wish is set to be a return to its traditional fairy tale roots. It has everything fans expect from the studio's golden age, but it might be missing one particular element. Now, yes, I have heard a lot about Wish. I haven't really gotten to cover it all that much, but it did seem like a movie where they were trying to go back to their roots of the Snow Whites, the Bells, Auroras, the princesses that we all know and have a lot of nostalgia for and a lot of ultimately love for, but they have decided to leave out one crucial element when it comes to all of these stories, which is the prince. It says Wish 2023 is being marketed as the ultimate Disney movie, harkening back to the classic fairy tales of Walt's days. They are really trying to capture audiences like me who grew up with the Disney princesses, who love the fairy tale films that they have done, and this movie, while the trailers do not necessarily look all that bad for it, they still have not captured me 100%, and now after hearing this, I've definitely really lost any kind of interest I had in it. It says it certainly does look the part, but even with its singing heroine, animal sidekick, watercolor-inspired designs, and over-the-top villain voiced by Chris Pine, it's still missing a crucial ingredient to the classic Disney formula, which of course is love and romance and ultimately a prince, which is such a sad thing to see happen because we have had a few Disney princesses over the years that didn't necessarily have their prince, right? Like Frozen. Neither Elsa nor Anna in the first movie really had their prince. Yes, Anna did end up falling in love with Kristoff, but it wasn't a full-blown romance on screen like traditional Disney films did. And then we had Moana, and she did not have a romance. It was all about finding her, family and defending her family, which was a very heartfelt message nonetheless. But yeah, I mean, when you think of Disney movies and Disney princesses, you are instantly also thinking of the prince, and it is so sad to see this happening because it's not simply just because they decided not to add a prince. We know how Disney is, we know how the company is, and how all of the creatives that they're hiring are, and we can see clear as day that this is another attempt to push men out of the way and make room for females. Female power. We don't need any men. Women don't need men to be important, which of course nobody was trying to say in the first place, and it means a lack of a heterosexual relationship, which of course in media now is, you have to avoid it like the plague, especially when you're a company like Disney who wants to get those sweet, sweet ESG scores up. It is just such a disappointment to Walt's legacy and also the legacy of each of these characters that you have and that so many people love. It is just such a sad thing to see that you can't have a straight relationship anymore. We can see this clear as day that they did this intentionally. This is the result of modern day feminism because third/fourth wave feminism isn't about equality, it's about highlighting women over men, lifting women above men, and in many cases, denigrating men by pointing to them and saying they've singularly been the problem this whole time, so not only do we have to equal them, but also make them look bad now. Because of these ideas, what is traditional and wholesome in these relationships between men and women has been demonized, and it's almost like they've been trying to show that it's abnormal when that couldn't be further from the truth. It's like they want to deny how the real world works and insert these feminist ideals that aren't actually reality into entertainment, and of course that's part of the message. So if they want to go back to traditional fairy tales, that also means traditional relationships. It says Disney pulls the plug on princes for Wish. At the risk of sounding like Portlandia's What About Men skit, this isn't the first time the company has shortchanged its male audience. Ignoring Strange World's massive misstep, Disney hasn't known a proper, well-rounded, three-dimensional male protagonist since Ralph Breaks the Internet in 2018, which is just insane to think about, that over all of these years they have really not once sat down and thought about what their male audience may want. And I am a female and I love to see the males in these movies. I love to see the relationships, even if they don't go into romance territory. I still love to see the friendships that these characters end up developing, and it is so important to have these relationships on screen that Disney again is avoiding like the plague. It says Wish doesn't necessarily need a male lead to fit the classic Disney formula. Even Disney's male royals often went unnamed with only 1 minute of screen time. However, shouldn't male audience members have an animated figure they can relate to and identify with, just as their feminine counterparts do with, Elsa, Moana? Yeah, I mean, they should, but of course they don't. And we can see with this film, another major thing is that, as the article points out, the over-the-top villain is voiced by Chris Pine, meaning the villain is a male, and we can't have a positive portrayal of a male in one of these movies. I personally am really missing the Aladdins, the Hercules, the Tarzans that do have romances, yes, but the lead character is a male, and they grow so much in their movies. They change over time because of the romances, because of the women that they fall in love with. Like, those are stories that you should be telling, not who needs love. Nobody needs love. She doesn't need a prince. A prince doesn't need a princess. Like, it is just so sad that this is what this content has come to. And we know that this is not just like a one-of situation, because of course it was only last year that we heard Disney wanted to stop using the terms like prince and princess, and they wanted to altogether allegedly ban the use of traditional gender pronouns like he, she, his, and hers in the Disney parks. But to top all of that off, we've also seen them give up on traditional romances in their upcoming movies, like the Snow White remake / adaptation, because even though there was a romance in the 37 animated, they decided to tone down and ultimately step back with the romance in the movie, because apparently Rachel Zegler didn't want to have as many romantic scenes with her co-star, and Disney decided that it was okay to shift away from the romance because they wanted to promote a different, more feminist message with the film. But yeah, I mean, over the years, Disney has definitely proven time and time again they're not actually worried about listening to consumers and what we want out of content. They're simply focused on the message. We can see clear as day they're cutting princes from films to feature less traditional romantic relationships. They're trying to move away from gendered language. And it's just so sad to see, because relationships like this, a man and a woman, should not be shunned. They should not be, whisked away from the eyes of the public. We should be seeing stories like this in entertainment, whether it's video games or movies, TV shows. It does not matter, because these are normal, healthy relationships. And I think that it is pathetic that Disney is cutting princes from new fairy tales because this is not the message that they want to promote. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.